Today we are answering a question we get asked all the time, and we are letting you know what our favorite national parks in the country are.
We're Erin and Brandon. In 2020, we built out a van with the goal of traveling to 50 national parks. 6 months later, we completed our goal. We saw some of the most beautiful places the U.S. has to offer. We sat down and compiled a list of our 10 favorite national parks. Now that we've been to 50 national parks, we've had some time to reflect on our favorite parks that we traveled to based on our own experiences. This is by no means a definitive list.
So basically, don't get mad at us.
Don't get mad at us if your favorite park isn't on there.
We want to start off by putting Bryce, Zion, and Grand Canyon on the list because they are amazing national parks that definitely deserve to be in the top 10. But we actually went there in 2017. We don't have any footage from it, and we never actually rated those national parks.
So we're just going to throw them on an honorable mention list. If you haven't been to those 3 parks, we'd highly recommend them. They could very well have made this list. They're incredible, and you should definitely go see them.
So after every national park, I took to these books and I wrote our favorite memories, our favorite hikes, what wildlife we observed, and I rated each park on a scale from 1 to 10 so that we could have a cohesive list at the end. And that's exactly what we're doing right now.
Without further ado, we're going to jump into our top 10 list.
So in no particular order, but in a very particular order, here's
Actually,
number
a
10.
very designated order. Here is number 10, Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. We had no idea what to expect when we came to Rocky Mountain because the snow was already coming in and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to do anything in the park. That being said, we were able to do 2 incredible hikes, one to Copeland Falls, which is my namesake, so I had to go there, and also the hike to Emerald Lake, which was so unique for us because the entire hike was in the snow. And all the lakes were frozen over, the mountaintops were snow-capped. It was just beautiful and kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime experience, it felt like.
If you go to Rocky Mountain during the spring or summer, you'll definitely have a different experience than us because a lot of the roads were closed when we were there in November. So we were limited to certain areas of the park that we could only go to, but like Brandon said, we had an amazing, unforgettable time there, hiking in the snow, frozen lakes. It was just so cool, and that is why it made it to the top 10 list with a score of 8.5. Coming in at number 9 is Arches National Park, also with a score of 8.5. So Arches is super unique because in this relatively small national park, there are 2,000 arches. And yes, that's correct. I said 2,000. We only had 1 day in this park, but we were able to do and see so much. One of our favorite hikes was to Delicate Arch, where as you came onto this crazy structure, there was almost an amphitheater feel where everyone was sitting around and just gazing in awe at this unbelievable structure. It was just a really cool moment, and there was a lot of other arches that we went to go see as well. Delicate Arch, Landscape Arch, Double Arch,
Turret Arch, the window section. There's just unbelievable arches every turn you make, and a cool part about the park is that it's very small and a lot of the trails are very short. So within just 1 day, we were able to see 7 of the most iconic arches in the world and also in the park. So it's a heavy hitter park. If you go there, you'll love Moab, Utah. It's such a beautiful area and it's a very cool park. On to number 8, Redwood National Park. This was a park that I've wanted to go to in my entire life because I've always heard about redwoods and seen them in books, and the pictures of them look so unreal. I look up because that's what you do when you're in this park. You just look up at these massive trees. When we were in Redwood National Park, we went on this hike called Stout Grove, and it was just unbelievable. It felt like you were on Endor. If there's any Star Wars fans out there, they filmed the shots from Endor at a section of a redwood forest that's right next to Redwood National Park back in the 80s. But it is just literally otherworldly walking around this park.
Another amazing part about Redwood, and probably my favorite part, is that we were able to camp on the beach that night. And if you saw that episode, I was the happiest I had ever been, maybe in my life. I was just running around. We got to watch the sunset. We did yoga on the beach the next morning. It was probably one of my favorite nights of van life ever, and that was in Redwood National Park. So definitely making it to our top 10 list.
It was like the classic van life setup that you see on Instagram, but it was real life for one night.
So Redwood National Park also got a score of 8.5. North Cascades National Park in Washington. North Cascades is a super rugged park. As you're driving in, these mountains tower over you. It feels like you could almost touch them. We did a hike to Cascade Pass where I almost passed out, but that's besides the point.
So dehydrated that when I look down, it feels like when you're looking at like a kaleidoscope or something.
Oh, okay. Should we go back?
Ooh.
We should go back.
We still had a great time. The views were beautiful, and we really enjoyed ourselves. I mean, Diablo Lake in itself is just this beautiful blue-green color. It's stunning. Brandon went paddleboarding on it, and I think that's probably his favorite place he ever paddleboarded.
It was just such a unique experience. The water's so bright blue-green. It's like this weird color, but it's very opaque, and you can't see through it at all. But as you're paddling along, you just have these beautiful mountains surrounding you. It was one of those experiences that just stands out.
All of those national parks, we gave a score of 8.5, but this next one is our first national park that we gave a 9 to.
And number 6 is Olympic National Park. This is also in Washington, and this park has the trifecta. It's got unbelievable mountains, it's got a rainforest, and it also has beaches. The rainforest is the section that really blew us away. Hoh Rainforest is just incredible, and within Hoh Rainforest, we did the Hall of Mosses Trail, which might have been one of Erin's favorite trails that we did the entire road trip.
It just feels like you're in a fairy tale as you're walking through this beautiful trail in this rainforest. Oh, I loved it so much.
But we also went to Hurricane Ridge, which was this hike up into the mountains where you literally are above the clouds. And we just sat on this ridge and watched the clouds roll in and just felt like we were on top of the world.
Coming from the East Coast, Grand Teton was the first national park that we really got to experience the huge mountains that out west has. We were hooked from the beginning. As you drive in, there's this beautiful mountain range And whenever you're in the park, you kind of just use that as your compass. In addition to the mountains, I think that Grand Teton has the most beautiful lakes we've ever seen.
When you think of a national park, in your mind's eye, you think of a park like Grand Teton, and with these unbelievable lakes at the base of these incredible mountains, it's so picturesque, it's ridiculous.
Crystal clear water, we got to paddleboard on the lakes, we hiked around on the lakes, and we saw a moose and a baby moose. Definitely a picture perfect park, so that's why we gave Grand Teton a 9 out of 10.
Number 4. This might be a surprise to some of you, but our number 4 park is Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico. The only thing that we knew about Carlsbad Caverns coming in was that it was a cave. Otherwise, I had no information on it. We had no idea what we were about to see. But from the moment that we stepped up to the natural entrance of Carlsbad Caverns and began our 2-hour hike through the caverns, we were just floored by the beauty and grandeur of this place. I mean, it was unlike any cave that I'd ever seen.
We were giddy, I feel like, the entire time. Just like, oh my God, did you see that? Oh my God, that's so cool. Oh my God. We honestly couldn't believe that we were inside this cave that is as deep as the Empire State Building is tall. And because it was so underrated, we didn't know a lot about it. And it's definitely one park that we want other people to know about and to go to. National parks don't always need the mountains and the lakes to be an amazing picturesque atmosphere. It could be just like a really cool experience, which Carlsbad Cavern definitely was.
And if you go to Carlsbad Caverns, you have to go in through the natural entrance. They have an elevator that you can take down right to the end of the cave, and it's a very beautiful section of the cave, but there's just nothing like that rugged experience of walking through the natural entrance and just walking all the way through the cave. And like, you're walking literally down all the way in. It's incredible. Anyway, we could talk all day about Carlsbad Caverns. Just go to New Mexico and go to Carlsbad.
And we actually gave Carlsbad a 9.5. That's how much fun we had. In Utah, another underrated park. So if you know national parks, Utah has 5 national parks: Zion, Bryce, Canyonlands, Arches, and Capitol Reef. All amazing parks, but we had never even heard of Capitol Reef before doing our research for national parks. Capitol Reef was crazy beautiful. We got to drive through the canyons. There were red rocks, mountains, just towering above you. I absolutely loved it. I was geeking out the entire time. I just kept sticking my head out the window and pointing at things.
So I might be so bold to say that this is better than the Grand Canyon. I think it might be. Oh my goodness.
I think it's a case of also not having expectations. When you come into a place, and not that we were expecting it to be bad, we just didn't know it was going to be so incredible. And so we came in with a level head, and then we were just absolutely blown away by the beauty of this place. I mean, like Erin said, Utah is really known for their national parks, and Capitol Reef usually isn't on the radar, but it really, really should be. It's so diverse, so many landscapes, and there's also so much cool human history there with petroglyphs on the walls that were scribed over 1,000 years ago, as well as all these natural wonders. It's just very diverse, very cool, and definitely worth a visit. And for those reasons, we gave it a 9.5. It's like a piece of artwork.
It looks like marble.
Wow.
Beautiful.
It really is.
Oh my goodness, look at that ledge.
Whoa.
But
What?
that brings us to number 2, our second favorite national park of all time, Yosemite in California.
This should come as no surprise to anybody that's ever heard of national parks because Yosemite is very famous for a reason. It is just beyond words. You can't even explain the beauty of this valley. And also, for us, it held a special meaning because we've become obsessed with Free Solo and Alex Honnold, so seeing El Cap was amazing and blew us away. We watched Free Solo last night to amp ourselves up. We're not going to be climbing El Cap, but we're hoping to see it and really take in the beauty of Yosemite.
Also, Yosemite brought us one of our favorite all-time hikes to Sentinel Dome. Side note, we will also be doing a favorite hikes and experiences of the national parks episode, so keep an eye out for that. But Sentinel Dome was just so incredible. You got to see El Cap on one side, Half Dome on the other, and I could have stayed up there for hours.
You just walk around the perimeter of Sentinel Dome and you get these 360 views of Yosemite Valley. It was unbelievable. It felt like you were in the middle of a movie. Like, if they shoot movies in Yosemite, they have to come up to Sentinel Dome. It's like the best vantage point.
To our number 1 national park, Glacier. Glacier National Park in Montana. We gave a 10 out of 10. It really is the creme de la creme. It is the cream of the crop.
It's the top chef.
Just mwah, mwah, mwah.
I mean, once you get on the Going to the Sun Road and you drive through this park, you feel like you're on another planet. I've never seen mountains towering so high and the road so perilously cutting through the mountains to give you these unbelievable views. I mean, it literally blew my mind. I didn't know that a national park could be so beautiful.
And there's so many mountains. Like, so many.
So many
It's
mountains. The trails are incredible as well. We got to go on the Highline Trail, which was probably the coolest trail. That's a little sneak.
No, I just said Sentinel Dome and you just said Highline.
And well, we have
Ooh,
differing
what's it gonna be?
opinions on what the best are,
What's it gonna be?
but Highline was just absolutely crazy. It's just wild that a hike like that exists. That's what I'll say about Highline. But our exuberance for Glacier is just out of
Through
this
the
world.
roof, yeah.
It's 10 out of 10 for a reason. The best national park we visited. Glacier is one of those parks that's incredibly overhyped. Everybody says it's amazing, so we came in with a very high expectation level, and it even blew that away.
I'll say, I had been to Glacier 4 years prior, and it still blew me away the second time. I feel like you could go to Glacier like 300 times, and it's still gonna blow you away. That's how amazing it is. I feel like that's enough. You just have to go. You just have to go see it, because us talking about it doesn't really do any justice.
The moral of the story is that you should just go out and see these national parks. All of the national parks in the country vary so much that it's definitely worth checking some of the parks that you don't normally hear on these lists check those out yourself and make decisions for yourself which are the best.
And it all has to do with taste as well. For us, our taste of national parks may vary than your taste. So why don't you comment below, let us know what your favorite national parks are, top 3, top 5, top 10, and we can compare and talk about it. So thank you for watching. We'll see you in our next episode. We're going to be talking about our favorite hikes, our favorite experiences. So make sure to subscribe and hit that like button to help us out. And we'll see you in the next one.